today I've got my most anticipated movies of 2017 list, and this is going to be quite a few because I've got my top 20. So bear with me if this ends up being a long video. I just wanted to share with you guys all the movies I am really looking forward to seeing this year, even though I have actually started to see movies that have come out this year, but the ones that I have yet to see are the ones that are definitely going to be on this list. So without any further ado, let's start with my number 20 most anticipated movie, and it is for Blade Runner 2049. Now, this was actually my latest trailer reaction video that I did, and I was really looking forward to seeing this movie because I was a huge fan of the original Blade Runner starring Harrison Ford as Rick Deckard, and I love that he is returning once again to this movie alongside Ryan Gosling and even Jared Leto. And, you know, this movie is going to be by the director of Sicario and Arrival and Prisoners, Denis Villeneuve. So I was really impressed with those movies, and I hope to not be disappointed because I love the look of the trailer. I love the whole feel of the nostalgia coming back. So I just really can't wait to see this movie and what else is going to be in store for this Blade Runner because, you know, it's looking really different as far as some of the themes going on and even the tone. So I've really got my curiosity with me for this film. So it's definitely a movie that I can't wait to check out. For my number 19 most anticipated movie, it is for Logan. Now, this is an X-Men standalone movie, and this is the third Wolverine movie starring Hugh Jackman as the lead character, and you know, this is potentially going to be his last, so it's going to be sad because he's had quite a long run being in the first three X-Men movies and then X-Men Days of Future Past, doing a few cameos here and there, and now he's on to his third solo film. So I'm actually really curious to see how this movie's all going to go down because his character is faced with new challenges, and he's even got this other mutant that is in the form of a small child. So it'll be quite interesting what will end up with his character this time around because this is his final run, and I really hope it goes out with a bang because, you know, I am a huge fan of him and I loved his take on the Wolverine character, so I'm really looking forward to seeing this movie when it hits theaters. For my number 18 most anticipated movie, it is for Get Out. Now, this is a movie that is quite different from all of the other movies that I have on this list, and it is because it's, you know, not part of a franchise or anything, and it is directed by Jordan Peele of Key and Peele, and it's kind of like this horror film slash, you know, suspenseful thriller, and, you know, it's got an interesting storyline where this girl brings her boyfriend who's African American to meet her parents, and of course there's something clearly going on in that family, something very sinister. So I'm just really curious to know you know, how horrific it's going to be. I mean, it doesn't technically look like a horror film, it just looks really unnerving because of some of the situations that go down. Definitely watch that trailer because it still gets me every time I watch it, but because it doesn't seem to be like a comedy like Key and Peele are known to have talent of, I think this movie will be quite a change of pace for them, and, well, mostly for Jordan Peele, who is half of that group and half of that duo and directing this movie. And for my number 17 most anticipated movie, it is for Annabelle 2. Now, I'm still slightly on the fence about the first Annabelle movie, which was, you know, that Conjuring spinoff with that scary doll. And Although I'm kind of thinking, well, I'm glad that they're, bringing it back to, the Annabelle doll origins, and like the girl who is actually named Annabelle Higgins and, ends up being inside the doll, but like something clearly happened to her when she was a child. I'm looking forward to seeing this movie because it looks absolutely terrifying. In that last trailer, which was the only trailer that had been released, didn't really show much. And what was off screen was probably even more terrifying to have to listen to. So I think that's what scared me more, and it makes me even more excited to see this movie when it comes out. Because I love horror films, and I hope that this movie at least is a step up from the previous Annabelle film. For my number 16 most anticipated movie, it is for SpiderMan Homecoming. Now, I was a huge fan of Tom Holland, who first appeared in Captain America Civil War as the new rebooted Spider-Man, and I loved his take on the character, and I just love his presence on screen, and I can't wait to see this new version of Spider-Man be shown as compared to some of the previous incarnations by Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. So I think to see his character return, also he's going back to high school, but then he has to face new villains like Michael Keaton, and I just think that's going to be so crazy to see. But I hope it doesn't disappoint, because I know a lot of people are still on the fence about this movie, but I'm excited to see this new take on the Spider-Man character. For my number 15 most anticipated movie, it is for Kong Skull Island. Now, they are bringing King Kong back to the big screen after last I saw him was in that Peter Jackson directed King Kong movie, and this time he is twice as big, because eventually in the future they are definitely going to make a Godzilla versus King Kong movie, and that will be a sight to see. And I am definitely looking forward to seeing this movie because, the look and the feel of it already looks impressive. The cast alone, I just am in love with. Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, John Goodman, Samuel Jackson. I mean, the whole gang is here, and they are ready to see what King Kong can do, because he is humongous, and he is an all-out powerhouse. Hopefully going to take out this other creature that's in the movie, and, I'm looking forward to seeing this movie, and hopefully I get to see it in 3D, because I would love to see some of that King Kong action, right in my face. My number 14 most anticipated movie, it is for The Fate of the Furious, also known as Fast and Furious 8. And although I feel like they had been dragging on this series for quite a long time, and I had been a fan of it even before Paul Walker had tragically passed away, and although this movie, doesn't really technically feature him, I'm still looking forward to seeing it because that last trailer was just full-blown, one thing right after the other, just crazy stunts and shots and things that it was so overwhelming that I feel like I hope I didn't see the entire movie in that one trailer, and I hope that it still makes me excited to see the movie because of, what was last left for us to see from the Furious 7 movie, and I really loved that movie. This will be a movie that'll change the game completely, considering I know eventually they want to finish this series, and I don't know, we'll just see what happens, because I am really excited to see the new characters as well. For my number 13 most anticipated movie, it is for Alien Covenant. Now, this is a sequel to Prometheus, which is basically what I called it, bringing it back to its alien roots, because first we had those alien beings that I was like, okay, they're humanoid, they're okay, I guess, but the ones that really make people excited are the actual aliens, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen to all these characters, because of course we do have the return of Michael Fassbender as David the android, and now we have these other people and they're having to deal with this virus, and the aliens come out, and all hell breaks loose. And it is going to be so exciting, and I just can't wait to see this movie. For my number 12 most anticipated movie, it is for Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tell No Tales, and this is the 5th Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and they are clearly looking for Captain Jack Sparrow, and there might be some returning cast members here that we haven't seen in a while, and I really miss them, like Will Turner, aka Orlando Bloom, and it would be nice to see, them sort of changing it up a little bit with the tone, and that's definitely what I got from the trailer, and it being really dark, and of course having Javier Bardem as the villain is just going to be so awesome, and I am definitely looking forward to seeing him here, because he just looks so scary and intense. But either way, I think this movie will hopefully make me not care if I wasn't a huge fan of On Stranger Tides. For my number 11 most anticipated movie, it is for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And I was a huge fan of the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I just loved it, and I thought it was one of my favorite Marvel movies to date. And this one looks equally as impressive. Although, like I said in my trailer reaction video of the second teaser trailer, I guess they're calling it that, there is a villain here, and I'm still unsure of what is going on. I don't really care. As long as I see all of my favorite characters return, like Baby Groot, that is going to be one of the best things of this movie. I guarantee it. Everybody will definitely agree. So I would say I'm looking forward to that movie. I'm looking forward to this movie for that reason alone. For my number 10 most anticipated movie, it is for Dunkirk. Now, this is a movie that is not a franchise, but it is directed by Christopher Nolan, one of my favorite directors of all time. And it's this war movie that is based off of true events. So I think visually it already looks impressive with the cinematography. I definitely want to check this out in IMAX. I'm loving the cast because he's returning with Tom Hardy and Cillian Murphy, and you have Kenneth Branagh in the mix. I mean, this movie is it's going to be so exciting, and I've said this countless times, I'm not a huge fan of war movies unless they are truly impressive, like I was with Hacksaw Ridge. When that came out, I loved that movie. So I definitely see myself loving this movie even more. For my number 9 most anticipated movie, it is for War for the Planet of the Apes. Now, I am looking forward to seeing this movie because I loved the first 2 Planet of the Apes movies, which had Andy Serkis doing the motion capture and the acting for the lead ape Caesar. And now this movie looks even darker because now it is a war between man and apes, literally. And having Woody Harrelson in the mix, I think looks really cool as well because I am a huge fan of his and I love his acting even since before Hunger Games came out. So I can't wait to see what all goes down in this movie. It looks really intense and exciting all at the same time. So hopefully I will not be disappointed when this movie comes out. For my number 8 most anticipated movie, it is for the Lego Batman movie. Now, if you were like me who loved the Lego movie, which had Will Arnett voicing the Lego Batman character, of course, seeing him get his own movie I thought was just really random, but also cool at the same time. I love Batman, and I actually loved his take on the character because he was so dark and brooding, and he was like check out my subwoofers. I called them dogs, hear them bark, and then he plays his music and stuff. But now he's in his own movie with the other Lego Batman characters, and I just think this is going to look so cool, and it's going to be really funny, and it's definitely going to be a good film to take your kids to. I guarantee it. For my number 7 most anticipated movie, it is for Split. Now, this is a movie that is directed by M. Night Shyamalan, starring James McAvoy, who's a guy who has multiple personalities, and I think this movie looks just really scary and intense, and it looks different. And of course, a lot of people are probably going to be on the fence about this movie since how The Visit got a lot of mixed reception, but I love that movie, and I think maybe this could be a new turnaround for M. Night Shyamalan to actually come back to the horror genre and not come out with movies that remind us all of the horrors of The Last Airbender. And I think this movie just, it shows that, you can make a comeback, but hopefully I'm not wrong about this, because that would be very disappointing, and I still want to check it out, no matter what rating it gets or how many people don't really care too much to see it. For my number 6 most anticipated movie, it is for John Wick Chapter 2. Now, I love the first John Wick movie, and of course it did make me tear up maybe at least one time, and hopefully I won't have to tear up in this second round with Keanu Reeves returning as the lead character, and I hope he just comes back as badass as ever. I hope no furry creatures kick the bucket. Just can't wait to see more John Wick action. For my number 5 most anticipated movie, it is for Star Wars Episode 8. Now, I know I'm going to be like everybody else going in to see this movie with several tears in my eyes, and one of which is for seeing, possibly for the last time, Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia, and of course she passed away, and it's just really tragic to say, and to even see anything that is just going to remind us of oh no, this is the final time we get to see her as Princess Leia. However, if they do go the route like they did with Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One, then I think maybe that would be a cool idea for Episode 9, because I know she filmed all of her scenes in this movie, so we'll see how everything goes, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this movie, because who doesn't love Star Wars, and who wouldn't be excited for a Star Wars movie? For my number 4 most anticipated movie, it is for Disney's live-action Beauty and the Beast. Now, I had just seen a few TV spots with Emma Watson, who is finally singing, so we get to hear a little bit of her singing voice as Belle, and I think she sounds really good, even though they need to get rid of that auto-tune, I'm just saying. But I think she's going to be amazing in this movie, along with the rest of the star-studded cast. And you all know, if you've seen my trailer reaction video to this movie, I was bawling my eyes out, and I know I'm going to be crying like a baby when I see this movie, because yes, I was, growing up with all these Disney movies, so I know that it definitely hits home for me, and just to see all of those nostalgic memories flooding back, and yes, I was flooding with tears. So we'll see what happens, because I've already cried twice. I'll be honest. I've cried twice now going to see movies. The past 2 movies that I've seen in the theater, and I saw a Beauty and the Beast trailer, I was crying my eyes out again. Don't show this trailer in the theater again, because I would need some more Kleenex. For my number 3 most anticipated movie, it is for 50 Shades Darker. Now, I know a lot of people will probably disagree that they're not looking forward to seeing this movie because they weren't huge fans of the 50 Shades movies like I have been, and I loved 50 Shades of Grey. I don't even want to tell you how many times I've seen it already. I did read the book, though, and I am currently reading 50 Shades Darker, so once I finish that, and then I'll see this movie, and hopefully it'll stay true to the source material, because that would be bad if it wasn't. But I hope that this movie is at least good, and maybe possibly better, because it's got a different director this time around instead of Sam Taylor Johnson, but I think it will be more exciting if it is just better. For my number 2 most anticipated movie, it is for Wonder Woman. I am really excited to see this movie, because we've got another chance for DC to hopefully improve upon their extended universe, and I really hope that this movie does well because it comes out this summer, and I, am already in love with Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Patty Jenkins is a really good director since Monster, so I am hoping that, this movie does justice to the character, even more so than when I saw her in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. And for my number one most anticipated movie of 2017 is for Justice League. Now, I know this movie, we have almost a whole entire year to wait before we see this movie, or actually less than a year, because it comes out in November, and this is the second DC movie that's coming out this year, so hopefully I will be even more excited because it's got more Justice League characters like Aquaman and Cyborg and Flash, and we haven't actually seen a lot of what Cyborg and Aquaman could do, even though they all made cameo appearances in Batman v Superman, and I am just really excited to see DC finally get a chance to have what Marvel did with the Avengers. But hopefully it all gets done right, because I know a lot of people are concerned because Zack Snyder is still the director and he might potentially direct Justice League Part 2. But we'll see how that all goes, and I hope that this movie does well because I really want to root for DC and hope that they can get their act together, because, it's not fair that these movies have a lot of potential, yet something keeps holding them back from letting the directors take creative control and the actors, doing the best that they can with their characters. But either way, I just can't wait to see this movie and hope that it is good in the end, as well as exceeds my expectations. So that was my list of most anticipated movies of 2017. I hope you liked my choices, and if you guys want, you can let me know in the comments what your most anticipated movies of 2017 are down below. And as always, you guys can subscribe to my channel. I've got more movie reviews, movie updates, coming every week for a Child Thursday video. You guys can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, and I will see you guys later.